without crying. I'm going to try to. But it's fun to watch her cry. But me and Pam and the kids go back, especially Karen, a long time. And I used to walk in the house, and Pam would just say, hey, come on in. You know, I'm probably on the computer now and sitting there. So I just walk in the house, I walk through the living room and say, hey, he'd be like, who let you in? And so I would come over all the time, you know, Alan just like I said, he would just look at me like, she's one crazy lady. She just walks in, I'm always so friendly, and anybody knows me, I most time bounce off the wall and I talk a lot. And so sometimes I don't give, and sometimes I don't give you a chance not to talk because I talk to you. So one day, I mean, I've been coming over for a year or two, and Alan just, you know, just like that girl wants straight. So one day I walked in, and Alan sitting there and cheering, all the way up the chair, he always said, I'm like, hey, Alan. He just looked at me like, and I said, hey, boyfriend. And he's like, and so I went back there and I said, Karen, I said, Pam, your husband will never cry, never talk to me. I looked at him and said, hey, boyfriend. She's like, okay. So then I kept coming over, and every time I walked in the living room, he'd know what I was going to say. I'd say, hey, boyfriend. So finally he got where he would smile. As soon as he saw me coming in, he got to the point where he knew what I was going to say, so he could get that big old Alan smile on his face. Well, I hang out at the Huddle House all the time. That's my favorite hangout. And so one day I saw him coming in the Huddle House, and I was sitting at the very back of the restaurant, and Alan and Pam had just walked in, and I was standing there, I'm like, hey, boyfriend! And Alan's like, out that door. I'm going out the door. So for every time I saw Alan, I always said, hey, boyfriend. And there was a point where sometimes I wouldn't say it. So he would come up to me and say, ain't your boyfriend? Every time I saw him, even up to the last days, I would always say, hey, boyfriend. And he started telling me after the last, hey, girlfriend. So I love Alan, and I love his family, and I'm praying for y'all.
Next, please.
My name is Deborah, and I'm Alan's sister, number 7, of Landreth. I have to admit that I really didn't know Alan that well, only because when I was 18, I got married, moved away from Georgia, never moved back. And I've been away for 37 years. But looking back on my childhood with Alan, I do remember one thing that always stayed in my mind and in my memory. This was back in 1968. I was 12 years old, Alan was 16. Back then, the 5 older brothers took care of us little girls. They had to cook, they cleaned, they took care of us. When Howard was able to go to school, Mama got off welfare, she went to work. So it was up to the older boys to take care of us. Well, Alan had a big date on Friday night. And he said, Deborah, it's my turn to clean the kitchen after supper tonight. But I'll give you $1 if you do. Now, Mom used to keep me out of school to clean the house because I was the only one that knew how to clean the house and make a bed. So I said, okay, back then, $1 would buy you lots of candy. You could get 10 pieces of candy. And we would have a picnic with popcorn and penny candy on the ground. So I said, okay, I would. But I couldn't disappoint him because the day was very important to him. But if he didn't get the kitchen clean, Mom would be upset with him. So I cleaned that kitchen. I started by the time he left to go on that day, and I was up all night long cleaning that kitchen. I took every dish out of that cabinet. I I'd wipe everything down. I'd bleach down everything. And Mama worked the second shift. She'd go in at 4 and she wouldn't get off till 12. So I said, I have to get this done before 12 o'clock before she gets home. Or before Alan gets in from his date. Well, I didn't have it finished when Alan come in. I had bleach everywhere. My hands were bleeding from the bleach. And the SOS pads I was using to clean the stove. You could eat off the floor when I got through this kitchen. Alan said, are you going to finish this? And I said, yeah, you just go on to baby. It'll be all right. Mama comes in around 12:30 or 1 o'clock. What are you doing? I said, I'm making $1. I said, Mom, it'll be okay. It'll be cleaned up in the morning when you get up. Just go on to bed. The next morning, we all got up. The kitchen sparkled. There was not a dirty dish in there, not a dirty window. We even went outside and got on the ladder to clean the windows. I tell you, that kitchen was spotless. Alan got up and just like everybody says, you know, he goes, here's $1. Jeremiah 29:11 says that, for I know the plans I have for you, said the Lord. And the Lord knew that when Alan turned 59, it was time for him to go. I wish I had a lot more memories to share of Alan, or to share with Alan. But you know, God led my life in a different direction too. Put me to a very good Christian family. And we serve the Lord. So I'm going to close in saying that I love Alan dearly, whether the rest of the family knew it or not. But I hope that your troubles be less, your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness comes through your door. God bless you.
Okay, we have time for one more.